Blessings, blessings, blessings to my awesome brothers and sisters. I truly hope you're having a fantastic, faithful, blessed day. Thank you for stopping by on the I Am Consciousness Stroll. And as we stroll along in faith, we only expect good. So, my brothers and sisters, we'll continue on how to do faith and how not to do faith. So on my last video, you saw how I compromised my values and my self-worth. And I'm asking you, brothers and sisters, please do not compromise your values and self-worth for your desires, because that is not being faithful. Faithful, we wait upon God, the source of all there is. And this is why we pray without ceasing. When we pray without ceasing, we are holding God's mind. So today, I would like to read something for you from my best of daily inspiration. And it is about our God mind. See the wisdom in God mind. God mind is one mind. We are of one mind, and we are drawing from the source. So when we draw only the best that is beneficial for yourself and for others. So I'll continue. Think on this. There is a wisdom in the universe that is aware of all combinations of all persons, places, events, and circumstances. Think on this. There is a good judgment in creation that knows what is best for everyone and in all situations. Think on it. There is a divine mind that totally unselfish and non-judgmental. Think on it. There is a law that cooperates with our thoughts and feelings to produce experiences that match our expectations. Think on it. Today is a good day to begin seeing the wisdom of God and God mind. That is our mind. This hour is a good time to recognize that it is the nature of the universe to give us what we desire for ourselves and for others. The reason for this is quite simple. We are one. It is impossible for us to separate from what we escort into manifestation. The wisdom of God mind is automatic in its response to the inner attitudes. It cannot be otherwise. Let us keep our attention focused on what is good, beautiful, loving in God's sight. Let us live in God's wisdom. In Mark 9, verse 23, all things are possible to him who believe. So my brothers and sisters, what is your belief? That is the question of the day. What are we believing in? Because if we believe in our old beliefs, we'll only get what we already have. So we must change our beliefs if we're not achieving our heart's desires. Whatever you think upon, that's what you will bring into your awareness, or your experience rather. So when I ask you to pray without ceasing, it's only to keep God's vision of goodness in your mind at all times, because it prevents us from being engulfed with worries, fears, doubts, and all the things that cause us to suffer. So, how to do faith is stay prayerful. And when we are prayerful, why do we pray? We pray because we want to stay in the realm of infinite possibilities. This is where we achieve whatever we put our attentions on. So my brothers and sisters, I'm only asking for us to focus on that which is godly. Because when we focus on the outer, we become distracted. We become envious of what other people have. And you know, when we're envious and seeking to have what others have, that is the wrong path, because we did not know how others get on their path. What we need to do is focus on our truth, the truth that is within. That's where the Spirit guides. Spirit guides us into our truth when we're tuned in. And my brothers and sisters, I know it's difficult to stay tuned in because we're so easily distracted. But there is a way to stay tuned in. There is a way when you see things that is not beneficial, you can use your mind, your God mind, to see it in the right and beneficial way. This is how we practice faith. We catch ourselves when we're thinking on the wrong path, change it, dismiss it back to its nothingness from where the negative thoughts were coming from, and put your intention on what is positive and godlike. My sweet brothers and sisters, you know this can be taught to children. You know that as we were growing up, coming out of the baby boomers generation, no one taught us how to have faith. But every day we go out with expectation. As children, we expect our good meal, we expect to sleep and wake up, we expect to play with our friends, we expect clothing from our parents, we have expectations. And we grow up having these expectations. Now, when we were dependent on our parents, these expectations were fulfilled without us even recognizing how faith played its role. Yes, we were taught to pray. And so, but we weren't taught to demonstrate waiting. We weren't taught how to endure while we wait on the source to deliver our good. So now we have to teach ourselves and our children, because we cannot keep going the way we're going. We hope for a new home. We hope for a new car. There is a way to achieve all your desires, because God knows what your needs are. God knows that when you achieve that new car, what more you can do for others. It's just like the farmer. You know, we can teach our children that a farmer plants, he sows his seeds for everyone. He didn't have an intention to just plant for himself and his family. He had an intention to plant and to harvest enough so that the entire village would be fed. And that is faith, and God delivers when we have such intention. So, as we teach our children to pray, we also teach them to have expectation from the universe. We teach them how to bring in what their desires are from the invisible into the visible. And so I'll give you an example for my child. When she was around 8 years old, this is my first daughter. She's a model, and so I used to travel from Fort Lauderdale to Miami, South Beach, for her to do her shoots. Well, one day on our way back home, We have to get her to school, and then I have to get to work. So on the way back home, I made arrangement to see one of my patients while she was with me. And then I would get her lunch, and she could sit in the dining area and eat while I visit with my patient. Now, all this was on rush, because that's how I was living. Go, go, go. And so I swing into McDonald's, grab her order. While I was getting her order, she went to wash her hands. She had a toy. It's a hand computer toy. And she washed her hands and left that toy in the bathroom. So I got her lunch and we took off. As I start driving out of the parking lot from McDonald's, she was like, "Oh, Mommy, I left my toy in the bathroom." And I'm like, "Oh, honey, we will pick it up on our way back." She's like, "Oh." I said, "No, we're going to pick it up on our way back. I don't have time right now. My patient is waiting on me. And you go eat your lunch. Think positively. Just think that you will return, pick up your tamagotchi with a smile." And so I said, "And I will wait for you with a smile, because I'm going to see you smiling, and I know that you found it." So I said to her, "Honey, please do not think or worry of losing it, because if you do that, you will lose it. Only imagine that you're going to pick up your tamagotchi and walk out and be happy again. So while you're eating your lunch, stay happy, stay joyful as if you have your tamagotchi." And so she did just that. And my lovely people, on my way back to the highway, I stopped in at the McDonald's and I said, "Go get your tamagotchi." And the child went in, picked up her tamagotchi, and came out with a smile just as we expected. And so from that day, my daughter knew how to use the power of her mind and how to believe that there is a source that will grant us our heart's desire when we focus our intention on our desires. And so that's a lovely story. Now, people would ask, what would you say if your daughter had gone in and come out without it? Well, I would simply say to her, "Honey, were you only thinking that you'd pick up your tamagotchi, or were you worrying? And did you have any fear that someone might take it?" Because see, that's where we step off our faith. We allow fear and doubts to seep into our minds. My brothers and sisters, that's not so. We cannot do faith by allowing our little inner voices to tell us what's good about us and what's not good about us, and what we're deserving of and what we're not deserving of. You know that the power is in you to get you anything that your heart's desire. Whatever you hold in mind will manifest of its kind. And that is a true statement, because it is what we feed our subconscious mind that we end up receiving as our rewards. So the only thing that we have to do when we pray is to live in the expectation as if it's already done. Be joyful. Be thankful. Be grateful. You remember, just like that new mother, during her expectancy, she lived in joy. She lived with a great expectation without knowing. This is how we need to be when we are demonstrating faith. We need to have pleasantry on our face. We need to be in happiness within our heart. We need to be in a joyful state. Because guess what? We have the power in us to achieve anything our hearts desires. And when we teach our children to do the same, oh, my brothers and sisters, you do not have to worry about your children, how they will get by. Because you know, just the same way you get by, they will get by too. So I ask, in the consciousness of oneness, that we only see good for ourselves and for each other. Only see the best in the situation, because that's what we desire. We desire the best. We desire peace. We desire pleasantry, beautiful surroundings. We desire to do what we say that we will do. How do we allow fear and doubt to stop us? My brothers and sisters, anything that you dream of, it is yours. Just put your attention on all that is good and all that is beneficial. Seep it into your heart through your conscious mind, sends it into the subconscious. That's where your intentions are synergized with the Spirit of God. And so, stay prayerful. A lot of us pray and wonder, why don't I get my prayer answered? It is your belief, people. It is what you believe will happen when you pray. It is what you're telling yourself in the quietness of your mind. It is also what you expect. Because if you believe in the power of God in you, then you will have high expectation from the source, the great I am. I am one with God. I am one with all life. I am one with all people. I am one with the one. So pray not only when you're challenged, my brothers, because if you pray only when you're challenged, fear and doubts will take over. Pray continuously with good intentions. So, what is faith? Faith is keeping the Lord in mind at all times, knowing that He is at your right hand. He will not abandon you. And when you know that, you will have joy in your heart, and you will sleep peacefully without worries. But to do that, you must always be in communion with the Lord. And how to be in communion with the Lord, the Spirit within us? Yes, there's a special way to be in communion. What is communion with God? Well, spiritual communion is a transaction in mind in which conscious union is made with the Christ Spirit within us. This is a true sacrament, being an outer sign of an inward spiritual grace. There are no visible symbols. The outer signs are words, songs, prayers, and silence, all of which expresses spiritual ideas. Jesus said, God is spirit, and those who worship God must worship Him in spirit and in truth. Today, I just ask to keep your heart pure. Release doubts. Release worries. Release blames. Just release all that is unlike God. And when you release, you will be open and receptive to your good. That's when the answers that you pray for will come to fruition. When you're free. Because when you're not free, you're blocking your good. When you are filled with corruptive thoughts, you're obstructing your good. Yes, and how does your good come? We don't know. It could be with angels with skin on. It could be something that you read about that gives you the insight. It could be the news you heard that gives you the instruction of where to go. We don't know. The Spirit of God moves mysteriously in and through us. You know today that the Lord fulfills all our needs, and He fulfills our needs with only good things. For I know the plan I have for you, declare the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. So, my brother, when you know that, you stay in communion with the Spirit. Pay attention to how day by day, faith by faith, we live in righteousness. Here we need to have an understanding of trusting. And so I will read, I know I gain experience with God. An almost peculiar thing begin to happen when you gain some experience with trusting God. His power is steady and sure. His love always presents within you, but most of all, His laws are fixed, impartial, and forever responsive to your faith-filled decree. God is reliable, my brothers and sisters. Man is not. Trust God. Love God in you. That means you're loving yourself, my brothers and sisters. And you're also loving the other. Isn't that awesome? When you know that the Spirit of God dwells in us. So what I see in me is a reflection of what I see in you. And what I see in you is a reflection of what's in me. So that is a blessing. I love you, I bless you, and I appreciate you. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and so it is. Amen.